Hey guys, it's Sami, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and that means we're here to talk about Friday Night Smackdown. Yes, Friday Night Smackdown did take place tonight from the Mohegan Sun Casino, and it was a pretty good episode of Smackdown for the most part. There were some meh things on the show, but you're going to get that with most shows. You're going to get something that's not for everybody or not completely great or whatnot, but overall, I did think that tonight's SmackDown was a positive episode of SmackDown. We got a number of things announced for next week. Nothing new for Elimination Chamber, but I don't think we need anything new for Elimination Chamber, as we already have, I think it's 5 matches announced. We have let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 matches announced for Elimination Chamber. So maybe, well, no, I know we're getting one more. I don't want to say the spoiler here, but there's another match that's being rumored that could be taking place at Elimination Chamber. So we'll see if that one does take place. That would make 5. I think 5 would be good if you give both chamber matches ample time. So yeah, I think 5 matches is good. And that's why you did the Gunther match on SmackDown next week instead of at Elimination Chamber. But with that, I want to say thank you if you are joining me here, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or on podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff of 4 games, and they always give you 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, if you are watching live on YouTube, you can help us out over there by becoming a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Also, remember to head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether that's a new game, whether that's an old game, whether you're claiming one of the free games or getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or All Guys, then you can support us. No extra cost when you use this code PW Unlimited at checkout. You can use code PWU NLIMITED at checkout, and you will be directly supporting us right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. But as far as SmackDown itself did go, SmackDown started off with a Paul Heyman segment that ended up with Paul Heyman and Sami Zayn segment. And this was great. This was excellent. This wasn't, if Cody and Heyman were here, Sami and Heyman were right here under them. Right under them. So Heyman was ready in the ring as the show came out of its cold open and its intro. And Heyman noted that since Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania, he doesn't make predictions, he makes spoilers. And he promised to make a spoiler tonight. Heyman pointed out that Roman Reigns is facing an attack from SmackDown and Raw. Heyman turns his attention to Sami Zayn, and the fans break out into a loud Sami chant. He asked the fans if they could imagine Sami as the undisputed champion, and the fans popped big. Heyman laughed and announced the first spoiler coming up, and that is that Zayn will not be at the show tonight. The fans booed. Heyman would then go on to mention the Island of Relevancy is facing an attack from Cody Rhodes on Monday Night Raw. He mocked Rhodes for claiming that he just wants to challenge for a title, but everyone will make it personal, as Cody already has. Heyman says that he didn't know Dusty Rhodes raised an idiot. And of course, this is personal. Heyman noted that without the titles, there's no bloodline, no Paul Heyman, no Roman Reigns, and suddenly out would come Sami Zayn in the ring behind Paul Heyman. Fans broke out into a loud Sami chant, and Zayn took the mic. Zayn noted that Heyman's alone without the bloodline because Reigns, his days as champions, they're coming to an end. It will be over in 8 days. The bloodline is crumbling. Everyone in the group knows it's over. Zayn wondered what would happen to the bloodline. He speculated if Jimmy and Jay would stay with their abusive cousin. He added that Solo, well, he's only thinking about himself. And he mocked Heyman for what he looks like at Reigns, for what he looks at Reigns like. He said, you look at Reigns, when you do, it's kind of weird, like sunshine beaming out of his ass. Zayn promised to beat Roman for the titles in 8 days in Montreal. The fans broke out into yet another loud Sami chant. Zayn then pulled Heyman in for a hug and told him to tell Roman not to worry about Cody because Zayn is going to be the one going into WrestleMania with the belts. Basically said Roman ain't leaving next week with either title. I thought this was great. I thought this was really, really good. I thought this was fantastic. And again, if Cody and Heyman were here, Heyman and Sami, right under it. Right under it. So then we had a random tag team match. It was the New Day. Not the New Day. Why did I read that wrong? It was Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. Oh, I see why I read that wrong. Okay. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus against Hit Row. Match didn't even go 3 minutes. McIntyre and Sheamus pretty much squashed Hit Row here. Not much really to talk about. And looks like they're setting up for the match next week with the Viking Raiders. As we move forward, earlier today, Hit Row approaches Adam Pearce. Well, actually, this was before the match. They showed that Hit Row approached Adam Pearce. They were mad that Ricochet and Braun Strowman got a bye into the first round of the tournament. They claimed that they beat Drew and Sheamus. And then Pearce decided to set up that match, and we got the match. There's really nothing to talk about because it was less than 3 minutes. It was a squash, and Sheamus won with a bro kick. After the match, there was a Viking Raiders video, and they called out McIntyre and Sheamus, setting up a match for next week, and the match is official. In the back, Jimmy Uso's trying to call his brother Jay, and he's like, hey, come on, answer the phone, answer the phone, answer the phone. No answer. He's like, hey, he leaves a message. If you get this, call me back. But then Lacey Evans versus Carmen Harris. I think that's what her name was. Harris. I don't remember. I just remember how it was spelled. I don't remember how they said it. This match went 2 minutes long. Evans dominated and beat her with the Cobra Clutch. That was it. Crowd was completely dead. Nothing else to say. Jimmy Uso tries calling Jey Uso yet again. No, nothing. Jimmy claimed that tonight was the biggest night of his career and that he couldn't go alone. He's saying it on the phone. He's like, come on, answer the phone. It's the biggest night of da-da-da-da. And I always think it's funny, and this is for like any television show or movie, when someone doesn't answer the call, and so they go to leave a message, and they're calling them like, hey, answer the phone, come on, like back in the day when we had real answering machines, so you maybe would hear them on the answering machine and go, oh, it's you, okay, I'm going to answer, or oh, I didn't hear the phone from the other room, but I heard you leaving the message. You can't do that with a cell phone. You can't call somebody's cell phone, leave a voicemail and be like, answer. Come on, I know you're there. Answer, pick up. No, you can't do that. Anyways, Heyman was sitting right next to him, was like, still can't get a hold of your brother? And he's like, yeah, no. And he noted that the psychopathic Canadian cornered him tonight, and Jimmy wasn't there. He asked where Jimmy was. He's like, why weren't you there to help me? Jimmy's like, I'm trying to get a hold of Jay. That's why. Jay's not answering my calls. Roman's not here. Solo's not here. You know what? If Jay don't show up, wise man, you may need to come out there and help me defend these titles. And Heyman's just like, oh, I'll say what? You mean what? Maybe you can just do it alone. Jimmy's like, you know what? I still believe Jay will show up. We then got the progressive match flow of the week. It recapped Natalya winning a fatal 4-way last week to earn the final spot in the Elimination Chamber. In the back, Sonya Deville speaking with Adam Pearce and was furious that she's not in the chamber. Pearce tried to explain that she had a shot to get in there and didn't win. Chelsea Green would then approach, and she was looking for a SmackDown manager to file a complaint against the Raw manager. And I thought that was funny because it's the same guy. Eventually, Pierce is like, you know what? How about you two team up tonight and you'll face a team Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. So then we had the tag title match that went 13 and a half minutes. It was the Usos against Ricochet and Braun Strowman, and Jay did show up at the very, very last segment. I know the match started good, got a little slow in the middle, and then ended really well as well. So Jay would come through the crowd, big pop. He walked into the ring, hugged his brother, another big pop, and then Samantha Irvin finished the intros. Jay and Ricochet had an excellent start to this match. Jay took down Ricochet with a shoulder tackle. Ricochet briefly fought back, but the Usos regained control. Strowman and Ricochet worked together, and Strowman threw Ricochet into Jimmy and sent him to ringside. The Usos then regrouped. Ricochet maintained control and hit a standing moonsault for a near fall. Usos then picked up the pace and hit a pop-up Samoan drop as they went to the break. Ricochet and Jay traded some shots, with Jay hitting a hard right. Jimmy went for a splash in the corner, but Ricochet caught him with a clothesline. Strowman and Jay then tagged in, but Strowman ran wild. He sent Jimmy to ringside and hit a running splash in the corner. Jay then sent Strowman over the top rope, and then he was hit with a super kick. He followed this with a suicide dive and another super kick. Jay scored a near fall with a flying crossbody, and Jay then rocked Strowman with a super kick, but fell into the corner. Ricochet hit a springboard crossbody, middle rope moonsault, and a shooting star press to only get a 2. Ricochet would then rock Jimmy with a jumping knee, setting up Strowman for a running power slam. Ricochet hit a swanton bomb off of Strowman's shoulders that looked really cool. But as we thought the match may be over, Jay broke up the pin attempt. Fans broke out into a loud "This is awesome" chant. Strowman then crashed into the announce table when Jay moved out of the way. The finish of the match then came when Jay made the blind tag. Ricochet hit the shooting star press on Jimmy, but Jay hit a flying splash for the win. So there we go. Jay pins Ricochet. On the back, Ray discussed the fatal 4-way and promised to win. We then get the Usos, and they're walking through the back, and Jimmy's just like, man, I'm so glad you showed up. I'm so glad you're here, but what does it mean for you in the bloodline? Are you in the bloodline or not? And we see Paul Heyman behind a pillar spying on them, basically. And Jay's like, I'm still not sure. I don't know. I need to think about it some more. I honestly don't know if I am or not. And Jimmy's like, all right, I get that. And Jay walks off. All of a sudden, Heyman walks up behind Jimmy and goes, hey, that's your brother? He's like, yeah, he had to run. Yeah, he had to get going pretty quickly. And Heyman's like, so what'd he say? What's going on? And he basically was just like, I don't know. He didn't really say anything. He just said he had to go. And so right there, Jimmy lied to Paul about Jay still being undecisive whether he is in or not of the bloodline. So that's very interesting. Why? Lie to the wise man. Then we had a segment that died a death. Nobody cared about this match. Or not match, but segment at all. Natalya bragged about being in the Elimination Chamber, and then for some reason brought up Shayna Baszler and said that Shayna, well, I get why, kinda. She was like, Shayna took me out of action, broke my nose, and what happened? I won the Fatal 4-Way last week. I will be in the Elimination Chamber. Natalya bragged about returning and whatnot and kept on going until finally Shayna made her way out to the ring. Shayna came down and goes, I'm sick and tired of everyone saying I'm a knockoff Ronda Rousey. I've been doing this for longer than Ronda Rousey. I was signed here before Ronda Rousey. I was winning championships before Ronda Rousey. And then, well, they made it sound like Shayna is frustrated with Ronda and doesn't like Ronda, but that ain't the case. Ronda makes her way out to the ring. The two teased a slight confrontation, but instead they beat down Natalya. Shotzi would come out and try to make the save to no avail. So there we go. Basically, we're getting the first step of, hey, Shayna and Ronda, actual legit tag team. actual legit tag team. As far as next week goes, Shotzi and Natty will be taking on the team of Ronda and Shayna. In the back, Jey Uso's walking through the parking lot, or I guess over by where all the production trucks are, and all of a sudden he runs into Sami Zayn. This was great. This was fantastic. I loved this as well. Sami Zayn's a treasure. So Jay's like, oh, Sami. Like, almost like, I can't be seen with you. And he keeps looking around to make sure no one's watching. And Sami's just like, hey, I just need to say something. I haven't been able to say this since the Royal Rumble, but thank you. Thank you for walking out and not doing what everybody else did. He says that he doesn't know how to thank Jay, and that he'll never be able to thank him as much as he really would want to. But he also wants Jay to know that he's going to beat Roman and take the titles. He knows that Jay wants to see Roman lose the belts, and Sami is the guy that's going to do that. Zayn then said also, and he puts his fist up, he goes, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you, Jay. And Jay's like, hey, you don't want to be seen doing this. Get out of here. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to be seen like this. And he's like, I just need you to know, I acknowledge you. Jimmy's like, or Jay's looking around. He's like, all right. And then they leave. Fist bump. And then they go. Crowd loses their mind when Jay actually fist bumps Sami. Quick LA Knight segment with Megan Morant. He just refused to talk about the pitch black match. Stormed off, said that I got better things to do in the future. We then had Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan against Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. And in case you're wondering, at least on WWE.com, I don't know about internally or anything, but at least on WWE.com, Chelsea Green is not listed on either brand, which means she's most likely just going back and forth for right now, at least. But she's not tied down to any one specific brand. So Deville and Green isolated Morgan on their side of the ring early, and Morgan avoided Deville, who knocked down Green. Rodriguez got the hot tag and hit a fallaway slam on Deville. She followed this up with a twisting elbow for a near fall. Deville then tagged in Green, but she didn't want to be in the match. Rodriguez then hit the powerbomb, and Morgan followed this up with the Oblivion. Rodriguez then power bombed Morgan onto Green, and they picked up the victory. Chelsea Green just keeps losing. That's her thing right now. She's just going to keep on losing. Madcap Moss is in the back with Emma. He admitted that things haven't been going his way recently. Emma told him that he looked great, and Moss credited Emma for looking so good, I guess you could say. He then said, you know what? I will win the four-way later on tonight. Michael Colton had a sit-down interview with Charlotte Flair. Give us more of these. I like Michael Cole's little sit-down deals. Give us more. I'd really love to see another one of these. I mean, I doubt they send Michael Cole to Raw to do one with Rhea. So, I don't know. Let Corey Graves do one with Rhea. Or Byron, I guess, would be the guy on Raw. But Cole discussed Flair and Ripley's past and their upcoming WrestleMania match. They talked about Ripley challenging Flair to a match 3 years ago at WrestleMania. They never mentioned that it was for the NXT Championship, though, which is very weird. Flair noted that Ripley was impressive in that match, but she was green. She wasn't ready, and Charlotte beat her. Flair wondered if Ripley was on. Or Cole said, well, you've said that she's gotten better. Does that mean she's on your level now? And Flair believes that it takes more than 3 years to get on her level. Flair then promised to put Ripley in her place at WrestleMania. Solid Charlotte Flair promo, and I liked the way they did the back and forth with Michael Cole and whatnot. We then had our main event. It was the Fatal 4-Way to face Gunther next week for the Intercontinental Championship. They showed Gunther and Imperium watching from the skybox above. In an inset interview, Santos Escobar promised to prove why he deserves the title shot. Basically, everybody said the same shit throughout the show. Mysterio and Cross fought on one side of the ring as Escobar and Moss went at it on the other. Cross sent Moss to the floor and tried to focus on Mysterio. Escobar and Cross argued over beating up Mysterio, and Cross threw Escobar out of the ring. Mysterio then caught Cross with a seated senton. Escobar sent Mysterio into Cross, hitting a Hurricane Rana. Moss recovered and ran wild on Escobar and Cross. Escobar and Mysterio then squared off one-on-one. Escobar caught Mysterio with a drop kick. Mysterio then fought back and set it for the 619, but Cross made the save. After a commercial break, Moss ran wild with a running shoulder tackle on all three. Moss then hit a spine buster on Cross for a near fall. Mysterio took out Cross with a DDT. Escobar took advantage and hit a phantom driver on Mysterio, but Moss broke up the pin attempt. Moss and Escobar then fought on the top rope, where Escobar got the better of Moss and hit a Hurricane Rana for a 2. Mysterio then hit the 619 on Cross, but Scarlett tripped him up on the apron before he can do anything further. Cross then hit Mysterio in the back of the head, knocking him out. Escobar then tackled Cross to ringside. Moss would fly in with an elbow and get the pinfall victory out of nowhere. Yes, Madcap Moss will challenge Gunther next week for the Intercontinental Championship. WWE will be running 2 nights in Montreal, 1 night in the Bell Center, and the other night in the, I can't remember. Hold on. Both nights in the Bell Center? Maybe. But I know there's 2 nights in Montreal. So then you think the show is over, but really quickly, we cut to the back. Jimmy Uso. Paul Heyman approaches. He said, I just got off the phone with the Roman Reigns, the tribal chief. And he admitted that Jimmy was right, that Jay would have his back. He told Jimmy that they have Montreal figured out. Roman doesn't want them there. He said that Roman has a special assignment for both Usos. Watch on TV. He said Roman needs them to watch on TV because sometimes you see things on TV that you don't see when you're here. He needs that other perspective. Heyman implied that Reigns saw Jay and Jimmy's exchange and possibly even Jay and Sami in the parking lot. Basically, Heyman said, Roman don't want you guys there. But really what they're saying is, hey, here's the excuse on why the Usos are not going to be at Elimination Chamber or Smackdown next week, because they're not allowed to get in Canada. Because of their DUI issues in the past, they can't get into Canada. So the Usos will not be at Smackdown or the Elimination Chamber, which means nobody to save Sami if need be. Except Kevin Owens. As far as next week does go, we do know that Drew McIntyre and Sheamus will be taking on the Viking Raiders. Natalya and Shotzi will take on the team of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and the Intercontinental Championship will be on the line. Gunther defends against Madcap Moss. So with that, guys, that's everything that did take place tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. One interesting thing to note, no Bray Wyatt. No Bray Wyatt at all. But you know what I thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. As far as the polls do go, Twitter poll, Twitch poll, 78% liked the show, 22% thought it was just all right. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 67% liked the show, 26% thought it was just all right, and 3% did not like it. Looking at the YouTube community poll, let that refresh really fast. 78% liked the show, 16% thought it was just all right, and 6% did not like it. And finally, the YouTube live poll, basically the same. 74% liked the show, 25% thought it was just all right, and nobody disliked tonight's SmackDown. So with that, guys, that's going to wrap everything up. We'll be back live Monday for the wrestling wrap-up Monday morning, and then Monday Night Raw Monday evening. So with that, guys, have a great weekend, no matter what you're doing, whether you're going tonight to watch The Last of Us on HBO Max, whether you're watching the Super Bowl on Sunday or doing something else, have a great and safe weekend. Have a good one, guys. All right.